Where the spirit does not work with the hand, there is no art. Leonardo da Vinci. Hi, I'm Garry Jenkins, and welcome to my show. I've got something a little bit different for you today. I'm going to show you how we fade petals into the background, how we get sort of a very soft, mysterious look to the painting. Let's take a look at the painting. Oh boy, now you see, let's take a look at that petal. You see how that just fades into the background? I'm going to show you today how we use a mop brush or blending brush, it goes by all kinds of names, and how we blend it out so the background comes through. It gives you a translucent look to your painting. Also adds some depth. It keeps that flower in the background. And as the eye travels along and comes along and it hits the one in the front, which is a little bit sharper and cleaner edged to bring it more into focus, so we get a good feeling of depth. The eye will hit this canvas and come around and hit this one. Another famous artist, I forgot the name, said, never lead the eye to a place where there's nothing to see. So, but we're going to lead it right to this little flower. What kind of flower? These are really musk. They're called Musk Roses, or old-fashioned roses. They almost look like a poppy, but they're not. This is a musk rose. The canvas I have is a 14 by 18, as most of the canvases on this series are going to be this size, though I might have a few that are a little bit larger. The colors aren't here. The base color on this canvas is acrylic, which is a water-based paint, and is mostly white gesso when you mix it with a touch of dark green and a touch of light red, which are complementing colors which gray down each other to make a very neutral, kind of a greenish gray color. So the water base, it is dry. I have on top, I've taken some linseed oil, and what I do is I'll lay this canvas down flat. I pour a little linseed in the middle, and I take my paper towel and spread it around, and then I throw that one away, and I'll pick up a dry one and take most of the oil off, so that I end up with just a thin coat of oil. Too much on there, and it'll run on you. And we also, the canvas is a portrait smooth, which will save these brushes. If you use canvas that's rough, it'll wear these hairs down, and you're going to be running out trying to get more brushes. This is ultra smooth canvas. Okay, now we're going to come up. We have a flower way up here on the right. Let's come down to the palette. Everything starts on the palette, guys. Now, let me tell you what this mixture is, because I've pre-mixed the colors, because I don't have a lot of time up here. I've taken black and white, which makes a gray, and I've taken a little bit of yellow and mixed in there, maybe also a little touch of orange. Now I'm going to take, on my medium, which you don't see me dipping into, this is linseed oil and odorless terp. And that's what's in there. And from time to time, again, I'll be cleaning my brush in odorless terp. Got to keep these. Oh, and very important, I have a big pile of paper towels, you see. So it's important to keep wiping that brush to keep it clean from one color to the other. Let's come on up here and let's put, oh yeah. Now, when you put your color on and say you mix it on your palette, you always have to come back. I'm going to put a little touch of orange with it. There it is. With that linseed oil on there, it just makes our colors flow so beautifully. And by having the linseed on there, the linseed grabs the paint that's in the brush and pulls it out. So it's almost like a watercolor consistency. So we're going to put that in, keeping it. Now, all paintings start with an abstract, guys. It just doesn't start where you put your brush down and boom, there's a flower. This is a little touch of chrome oxide green, but it's just a little because it's going to go a long way. I'm going to brush that out. And what this does, it establishes the center of our musk rose, which looks much like a poppy. But a lot of flowers are derived from the poppy design. This can go into a tea rose or it can go into a musk rose. So learning this style of painting will lead you into many different flowers. On the bottom, we're going to take the gray mixture. Now this one has a touch of orange in it, which really warmed it up. Now we want this one not to be on the same level as that. And on it goes, and around and round. Now, it doesn't really matter what's happening in the middle. All the action is on the outside. So you want to try to make whatever flower you're working from, make the outside edge of the flower match the flower you're working from. Let's come on down. I'm going to clean my brush. We're going to pick up a little of our gray. That's just black and white. There's nothing else in this one. And can you see the difference between how cold this is and how warm that is? You know, guys, it's a good idea for you to go out, get yourself one of these color wheels. Now, for years, I used to tape the color wheel to the top of my easel because I could never remember all the mixtures. But by looking at the wheel, and you say, well, you want to gray a color down, just look to the opposite edge, and it'll tell you what color to mix with this to gray it down. Now, there is a controversy. Some artists like to use complementing colors to gray down. Some like to use black. So some say use black, some say don't. So back and forth it goes. On the other side, you have different colors that are called split complementary, triad, this add, that add. I never remember what they're talking about, to tell you the truth. I just look at the little pictures on the back, and it has little arrows showing you all the different color combinations, like what colors go together. Like you'll have this color goes with that color and this color. And these are great for when you're doing, especially our acrylic backgrounds. I use the wheel, and it just tells you what colors go. This just eliminates a lot of problems and eliminates getting a lot of color on your palette, on your canvas that really don't go together. After a while, you'll memorize it and you won't need it. Yeah, I still use it all the time. Here we go. Now this one is more elongated. It's more of an oval shape. And remember, keep the base color that's underneath very, very thin. Now we're going to go into this one. This is such a fun painting to do. And we're going to put a little color in there. Maybe a little more orange and yellow. Got a little too red. And remember, let's take our mop brush. Boom, boom. And we're going to use that. Don't use those wide brushes, guys. You get in there with a wide blender and you try to blend and it wipes out everything around here. Don't use these big brushes. Save the big brushes for what they're meant to be used for. Painting walls in a house. It doesn't belong up here. Let's come in here and take a little orange. And let's get a little of that in there. And brush that out. So what we're doing is just establishing the center. No big deal. Before we get into these flowers, we're going to take some sap green, little sienna, very dry. Let's see what that does up here. Oh boy, look at that color. I use a crisscross stroke, one side and then the other. Yeah, crisscross. And as it comes out, we're going to wipe the brush on my towel and blend that out. Still using this, it's like a wash machine, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Let it go, let it go, let it go. A little bit of a dark over here. We're setting these flowers up so that we get some nice darks going. There's that. Let it fade. Let it fade. Just hold on to that brush. Hold on to it. Just go for a ride. Let it happen. Notice I hold the brush way in the back when I'm painting loose and free. But if I'm painting tight, I'll choke up. But way back here, this makes you... It's like leading an orchestra. We've got our darks notes and we have our high notes and we're just standing up. We're standing up in front of the orchestra, leading them, just like this. And we point to the bass. Those are our dark colors. We say, yes, we want the bass color. Boom, 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 boom. And then we'll point to the violins. We'll say, with violins. So we are in command of a huge orchestra. And where do they sit? They sit on our palette. This is our orchestra down here. We have our high notes and we have our dark notes. We are in command of the whole thing. And is that fun or what? Give me a break. It's all up here, guys. It's all in the mind. Remember, we don't have to start out as beginners. We can start in the middle and go from there. Now, I'm just picking up a little green, little this, little that. I'm going to put, whoop, not dark enough. We're going to take a little more green and sienna. And let's get, whoa, there it is. Remember, these are just these little wiggle strokes going in. Boom, boom, boom. And we want these to fade into the background. Yes, and we're going to come over here. And we're going to get a few coming out. Before we get into that flower, let's get our leaves going. Yes. Now, let's get a little darker in here. That's a little more green and sienna. And we're going to get a little darker. Right? Whoa, boy, look at that. Look at that. Look at that power of the pigment. We have plenty of pigment in this paint. Don't use that soft stuff you see out there. It's full of fillers. You put the paint on and it disappears. You put more paint, especially the whites. You try to put the white on, it's not there. And what happens? You put more paint on, trying to get your whites white. And you dig and you dig. And what happens? The undercolor comes up, and what do you end up with? You ever find yourself doing paintings and your color's muddy? You know why it's muddy? It's because if you use soft paint that has plenty of filler and you keep trying to go over and over and over to get your whites white, and the undercolor comes up and muddies you up the top layer. So that happens. So watch out for that. Let's come up here and let's do the top flower. I'm using white, which is a titanium white. It has plenty of pigment, and away we go. Now say you're a beginner and you're saying, oh, well, I've got this on here. I can get this far. And then when I go to pick petals, it ends up just big mush. Do this. This will help you. Put a little sketch on first, which shows where the petals are located. See? Yeah? Maybe a little one back here. Now, every petal has its vanishing point back here. Now, watch. I'm just reaching down for a little more white. Watch how easy this is. Every stroke heads towards that vanishing point. And I round off the back. There's your petal. Now, can you do that? I think so. Let's do another one. Head towards that point. And round the back off. There's another one. Let's put a little more color up here. There's a back petal. Remember, these are just going to be fading out in a minute. There's another petal. Now, I go out. You'll see me when I do this. My stroke goes out just a little bit beyond the lay-in. And watch how I end up with a curved stroke. We have 4 shortened petals, but now the vanishing point is back here. So say you have a petal there, and you have a little dot back there showing your vanishing point. You put your brush down, head towards it, and there's your petal. Do it again. Another one. There's its petal. There's another one. You see, you can do this stuff. Don't be intimidated. Don't let anybody say you can't. I hate the word can't anyway. There. Boom, boom. Look at that going. Look at picking up the color underneath. You see? That's wet on top of wet. That's how that works. Now, this technique is different than my other stuff, because we're going to take a very dry blender and watch that petal. It just went bye-bye. It's going to go bye-bye. Bye-bye. You see how soft? It just floated right into the background. This got a little straight. I'm going to curve that a little more. You see it? Maybe this end here. Remember, I have that linseed. Maybe we want that to fade. You're in control of the whole thing. It's your painting. Do what you want. Let's come over here and do this one. We're going to take our white. But wait a minute. Let's take a little orange with our white. Just a little slight tint. We have a nice big petal. Remember, you have a vanishing point down here, and everything is going to head towards that point. Yes. Another one here. Now, I am working very dry. Very important. There's no medium with my paint. It's just dry. I'm going to take a touch more orange with this white. This is not, you can notice I'm not reaching for any medium. Again, another one. You see? You know, if you do a certain thing a certain way, you need more weight on there. If you do a certain thing a certain way, you'll get a certain result, because that's the law. That's just the way it is. You do what I'm showing you, and you'll get a result. It's just like gravity. If I let this brush go, it's going to fall down. If you stroke your canvas like I'm showing you, this will be there. It has to. It's the law. Isn't that nice to have something that it's the law? It has to work. Here I'm putting in a few petals that are smaller. In a minute, in a little bit, we will be putting more highlights on. But notice how I'm stroking, hitting that. Ooh, now look at that. We just got into some green. So when that happens, we don't sweat it. We'll just come up here, and we'll put a little leaf on top of our little boo-boo, and that's great because it helps push it back. We're taking some green and sienna, and I'm going to overlap this back one because it will helps to push it back into the painting, and maybe a little stuff hanging down here. It's really getting kind of faded out. Let's come down and do the bottom one. I'm going to clean my brush because it has plenty of green on it. We'll pick up our white. And this time, really white, a lot of white. And we're going to just kind of wiggle our brush across, maybe wiggle, because these petals are foreshortened. And after you're finished wiggling, we come in and pull it into it. You see that? How we just got that petal to flip over? Yes. Now I'm putting a little medium with it. Yes. Watch these shows. Well, we're getting into a lot of good stuff down the line. I hope you guys have a chance to watch everyone. Remember what I'm doing here. I'm doing something that if you're just watching me for the first time, something you don't see. That's down, and as I come in, I pull up and follow through. Pull up and follow through so that the back end of that petal fades. If it's not fading, we can come in with the cavalry and it will make it fade. But try to get it to fade just with your brush strokes because it'll look much fresher and cleaner. Yes, you have to get some excitement into your painting, get some passion into it. Get out and take photographs of different flowers, set them up, and move them out. Right. You got to you set your flowers up and paint them. Yes. Get excited about it. Remember, if you're not excited about what you're doing, nobody else will be. Yes. Look at that flower. Shoot, doesn't get any better than that. Let's take some medium. Let's take some green, little sienna. These flowers really come to life once you put these centers in. And keep your centers skinny and kind of wiggle them a little bit and try to have some of those edges flying way out. Now watch how I'm going to take and go dot, 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 dot. You see how important it is to have this? Now some of your dot dots are out beyond your little line work, which opens it up and gives it more of an airy look. Now we're going to take, the centers in this painting are very, very important because the flowers are so light and airy that this sort of anchors it down a little more. Now look at that yellow going in. This is done with the liner or the twiggy brush. You see that? Beautiful. If you wanted to tint this, you could, but we probably won't, or if we have time, we might. Who knows? And we have another one up here. Where is it? Right in there. Study the centers of flowers, guys. Very important. You have to really study and look at what's happening in the middle. because it is important that you want to slow down. Slow down. You move too fast. You got to get it in. Look at that yellow going in. Dot, 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 dot. Yes. And let's come up to that top one up here. Now that one might not have any stems. Ooh, that's a little dark, a little heavy. So let's, for our light one, she's way in the back. We don't want to darken up that center. There we go. Because it weighs it down too much. You see how we dot that? Now we stand back. We're going to take a little more white. Always stand back and look at your work, because you don't want to work on your paintings with your nose 3 inches from the canvas. Nobody looks at your paintings with their nose right up against the canvas. So, okay, let's back up. Let's see what we have. What do we need? Oh, I see we have a little line work. Remember, your terp is better for your line work than your medium because it's lighter and it's not so heavy based. And we have one that kind of comes out. Can you see? It's just barely there. Let's put another one in here. And if you want, you can even curl it a little and let it. But you see how subtle? You see how subtle? We don't want to go in there real heavy brush, big brush, heavy this, heavy that. You lose the feeling of the whole thing. You need, again, remember, you guys that are painting, if you love flowers like Catherine, my wife, and I do, you've got to have the passion for them. You've got to be able to look at roses, for instance, and feel the texture, smell them. I love to go out in the garden. We have about 80, 90 rose bushes. I love to go out there. I go out with my camera. That's where I get all my inspiration from. I go out with my camera and take pictures of the real thing. This is what jumpstarts my imagination. No matter how long I've been painting, I still have to be inspired. What inspires me? Flowers. Yes, the real flowers. I go out and I'll just photograph the stems and the leaves, because the leaves, they dance and they jump and they... If you don't study from nature, you have a tendency to paint the same thing over and over and over. And you don't learn anything. There's an old saying that if you paint just what you know, you have an idiot for a teacher. You have to bring in real flowers. So if you work from the real thing, you'll grow. You never want to say, oh, I've arrived. Oh, I'm a master of this and I'm a master of that. Who wants to be a master at? You see, the beauty of painting is the learning process. You keep growing. You never arrive. The beauty of painting is the search. It's the struggle. And then when you finally end up with something that looks great, you go, wow, that was cool. Now, what else can I do? And so every year that goes by, you keep getting better and better and better. You guys that teach out there, I know you're out there and you have your students, but you find your students getting tired of what you're doing. You know why? Because you, as an artist, you have stopped growing. You've reached a plateau, and boom. So your students come up and they go, what else can you do? And you go, I don't know, that's all I know. So as a teacher, you're first an artist, second a teacher. It's the artist in you that says, grow, think, get those real flowers in your studio, work, and paint and sweat. You could pass this on to your students, and you'll find that they'll keep coming back to you because they're excited with you. If you're excited, they're going to be excited. Let's look at the painting. I want to add just a little more yellow and orange. I want to get a little shot. You know how I like to get my little shots of color. Can you see how that just went bam? It just added some excitement. Red is passion. Red is the passion color. And just a chop, 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 boom. It doesn't have to mean anything. It's just there because it's color and it adds a little sparkle to your painting. That's what now this is just a simple painting. Let's pull back and look at the whole thing. Look at that. put a nice little frame on there. Now, if you wanted to, you could add little daisies. This would be great. You could even have some geranium in here because in a garden, when you have your flowers, other flowers grow in, amongst, and through, and between. You can do that. We can do anything we want. This would just be sort of a base for us to add other stuff. Or just keep it simple. This is actually a good painting for teachers out there to teach because it is so simple, and it's good for the students because it teaches them brushwork. It teaches them how to jumpstart their imagination, and it also shows them how to use pigment power. Well, there you are. I hope yours turns out. And don't forget to stop and smell the roses along the way. And I'll see you next time.
Er is een schitterend nieuw boek uit van Garry Jenkins. Boordevol tips en prachtige voorbeelden. U heeft dit nieuwe boek al in huis voor slechts €35. Of bestel voor dezelfde prijs de gloednieuwe 3-uurs DVD met Nederlandse ondertiteling. Garry Jenkins leert u alle geheimen van zijn schildertechnieken. Kijk voor bestelinformatie op omroepmax.nl of teletextpagina 332.